Here we go. Hey, this is Greta Ross with Your Health Matters, and today we have a very special guest. She's actually my business partner. I call her Miss Rhonda Kraft, but I guess I'll have to get used to calling her Rhonda. But we've been friends for a long time, and she is a wellness educator. And so we're doing something a little different here on Your Health Matters because I want to kind of give you a little bit more than, just, other people's story and their testimony, which is helping you on the physical side. But now we want to dig into the food and the sleep and the exercise and all that put together. So we're going to do a couple of series on here on Your Health Matters with Rhonda Kraft. Rhonda, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure, happy to. So as Greta mentioned, we've been friends for a while and we met around food. That's
Yes.
our life has been, my husband and I have been in the food industry in one way or another for a long time. So most of the important things in our family happen around the kitchen. He is a retired chef, and I began food education with him when we were not only catering, but doing small parties that wanted to learn more about how to work their grill. And then I would talk about the food education piece. So I'm also a licensed interior designer. I've been doing that for 37 years, and my wellness business has been a side gig for a while, but COVID being what it is, it's kind of reversed all of that. So I'm blessed to be able to talk more with folks about health and nutrition and why it matters. So I'm really glad to have this opportunity to talk with everybody and be on here with Greta.
Yeah, I really think that even though they are lifting the bans, I still think that it's really important that we are aware of our health and what we can do to improve the quality of our life. That is like really my big thing now. I'm going to be 64 this year, and when I was in my 30s and even in my 40s, I didn't think about 63. I didn't think about 64. That was, what I'm saying? So now that I'm here, it's like, oh my God, it's like, okay, well, 80 is coming. So how do I want to, how do I want to live my life at 80? And these things are really important. So that's why I wanted, us to team up and bring some vital information that I think that everybody will be able to use, not only for themselves, but also for their families. Everybody's going to benefit from this. The first thing that we want to talk about is food, because I think that that's really, really a big thing for everybody. Everybody likes to eat, everybody loves good food. But we have to know what it is that fuels our body, what's good for us and what's not good for us. And, I believe this wholeheartedly. And I think I posted it the other day that every time we eat or drink, we're either feeding a disease or we're fighting a disease. And I think when we have that mentality when it comes to food, we'll think more a little bit about what it is that we're putting inside our body. So why don't you share with us some information that you and I were talking about, just kind of just go over what it is that you have to share with everybody so that we can all of us can get on the right track with our food eating.
First of all, I think that this really isn't as hard as people think it is. I think people get overwhelmed by thinking they've got to do things a certain way. And really, what it boils down to is eating food that God would recognize, for lack of a better way of putting it. I mean, I can tell you that eating something like this, versus something like this, not that I have anything against fast food chains, I just don't think they serve food there. But that raspberry is going to nourish your body a whole lot better than a French fry. That's pretty easy for people to understand. I think where it gets more complicated is trying to come up with a lifestyle that invites, encourages, and continuously fosters a love for good food, healthy eating. And that's where I think people get stuck. I'm blessed to have a husband who's a chef, so that helps a lot. I know when I'm having to cook for myself, I don't do as well, I'll be honest. But the fact that we're in the kitchen continuously pulling from the refrigerator, the fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. When we do bring meat into the house, we source it from farmers that we know. You can find them at your farmer's market. They're not that hard to find if you want to find them. So it's important just to understand where your food's coming from.
Yes, that's very important. I mean, even though it may be coming from the supermarket, the process that it took to get there,
Hmm.
you
And
know,
one of the
and we don't know what that process is.
yeah, one of the comparisons I like to make is a tomato. Without getting off on a tangent about genetically modified food, we'll talk about that in another.
Yes.
You know how I am. We'll get on my soapbox. But if you look at an organic tomato from the grocery store, that's great. I buy organic tomatoes at the grocery store when I'm not growing them myself. If you took that tomato and you compared it to an organically grown tomato in my backyard and you put them side by side, I promise you, you'll taste the difference. And it's not that there's a problem with the fact that the other one is organic and sourced from Mexico or wherever it's come from. It's the process between where it was grown and where it gets to your plate. The traveling, it's exposed to who knows what in the air. I mean, from fumes, from shipping, there's just a big difference. Now, am I saying everybody needs to grow all their own food? Well, in a perfect world, we would, but it's not a perfect world. Do what you can. Certainly, it's easy to grow a terracotta pot full of cherry tomatoes and at least experiment with it. But my point is more to the idea of how much processing happens, even when you do your very best. So, knowing what you can do to make healthier choices, to stay in the produce section, shop for the most part the perimeter of the grocery store, rather than going into the dark aisles, except for toilet paper towel.
Well, you know, the thing too is that you mentioned the farmers market, and I don't think a lot of people really shop there for their fruits and vegetables, but that stuff is local, you know, and
Mhm,
it's always good to eat food that's in season. So
mhm.
if you're buying it from the farmers market, you know that it's in season, you know that it's local as well, and you know that it hasn't been shipped, it hasn't gone through that whole process.
Right. And I'll have to confess, these raspberries are not in season right now. They were grown in a greenhouse somewhere, probably,
Mm.
but I'm on a cleanse, so I can only eat fruits and vegetables for 7 days. So I splurged and bought some fresh berries.
Well, and you know, and it's necessary to sometimes to that you have to eat fruit that's not in season,
Yeah.
and that's okay. You know, but there's certain fruits that I just won't eat when it's not in season, like watermelon. To me, it's like watermelon just has a season, so it's like
It has summer. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, if you do eat, there are a lot of people that subscribe to the idea of seasonal eating exclusively because your body does in the wintertime and the sunlight, there's less of it and your body slows down a little bit more and eating heartier foods in the wintertime makes sense. And that's when your root vegetables are there and a lot of the good things that you think about with a roast and potatoes and carrots and turnips and
Hmm.
whatever. And in the summertime, right, all the berries and watermelon, peaches, apricots, plums. I think about fruit because I love sweets, but also all the field peas and eggplant and so many things. I mean, just to eat the rainbow as much as you can. So if
Yeah.
you were, or you'd also see blackberries and blueberries and
Hmm.
eat
Hmm.
variety of color as opposed to what is convenient. Um, can we talk about that for just a second? Um,
Please, let's do that.
one of the things that I think stumps people is that they're not prepared for the week food wise. So, what I encourage my clients to do is to take a look at their calendar. And sometimes we'll sit down and look at it together and I'll say, block out everything that is absolutely non negotiable. Like I'm at work from this time to this time, I sleep from this time to this time. But let's look at the pockets that are available and find an area in your week where you can do some prep, food prep. For our family, it was Sunday afternoons. We'd been to the grocery store the day before. Our kids were always a part of the shopping process, and we'd let them select something new and different, and we'd try it out. They were with the dad for a chef, they're in the kitchen from the time they could safely be in the kitchen. And they're both really good cooks now, by the way. But my point is that we would set aside, like I would make a huge pot of vegetable soup. Kevin would be out on the grill grilling meat for the week. And we'd usually have fish on Sunday nights because it doesn't keep as well, right? But chicken or hamburger or steak or whatever you can eat on the rest of the week, so to speak. And then we would do pre-prep for salads, or if we knew we were going to make tacos, we'd get everything as ready as we could so it would be easy when we got home from work. And for us, it was Sunday afternoons, but whatever works for your family, just find that time. It's important. That way you don't get stuck where you're, and we did this, where you're taking the kids to the soccer game, one's at soccer, one's at softball, and you're passing each other. And it's really hard to make a meal happen in the course of all that chaos. So if you've got something that's already prepared that you can grab and go, you're going to feel so much better than if you drive through and get your meal. Real food is not served through the window of your car. It's not. Sorry.
Can you give us an example of that?
So
Why real food isn't served through a window of your car?
fast food's there for a reason. And without going into a whole lot of detail, it's been around since the late 40s, early 50s, believe it or not. McDonald's was one of the very first chains that came out. Not bad mouthing McDonald's here. I know they're offering tossed salads and sliced apples and other things like that. Most people just don't even, if they know they're there, they don't order them. I mean, it's just you get used to a cheeseburger and fries. So several years ago, I think I bought my first one in 2009, July, I think. I started a cheeseburger collection because, like you do, right? If you're a food educator, you do. So I went to McDonald's, I went to Whataburger, I went to Burger King. I've got all of them in the original wrap. I won't unwrap all of them, but I did unwrap one before we started recording. This one just happened to be from Whataburger, but trust me, they all look the same. This is a cheeseburger, just meat, cheese, and bun that I bought in October of 2009. It doesn't have any smell. It also doesn't have any mold. It's just like plastic. So you might ask yourself, how is that possible? Chemicals. I mean, every chemically based in order to preserve it. You want to know about French fries? So there's really, if you were to line up the molecules of French fries and the molecules of plastic, there's only one or two molecules different. Once you've fried a potato, you've molecularly changed the compound and the nutrition of that food. It's no longer a food, it's a food-like substance. Mm-hmm. So it's the processing. I remember growing up, my dad used to grill hamburgers and we'd have one left over. And if we didn't get to it in 2 or 3 days, it would be molded. The hamburger patty in the refrigerator would have molded. So would our hamburger buns, if we didn't use them within a few days. How many of you have had a loaf of bread sitting on the counter for a week, 2 weeks, and it's finally starting to turn a funny color? Well, these never turned a funny color. And this is it'll be 12 years old in October. So that's part of the thinking about why I say real food isn't served through the window of your car. I'm not saying never drive through a drive-through ever again in your whole life. That's not realistic. We do it. I mean, well, to be honest, I do it when my daughter comes home from Australia. We drive through In-N-Out. And I made her buy me one in March of 2012. And it didn't mold either. So the point is, you're going there for food. You're going there for some sort of psychological soothing. You think it's going to fill your stomach for the moment, so you won't be hungry, but it's not nourishing your cells. In fact, the chemicals in some of this food, your body doesn't know what to do with it. And so over time, if your body doesn't know to eliminate it, it's going to store it. So the chemicals building up over time is what I think is a part of disease.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. And that's why we really have to know and understand what fuels our body, what is real food, mm-hmm. so that we can get the nutrients that we need.
Yeah, and I think that another thing that I'll talk with people when I do one-on-one counseling, just to kind of get to know what people's habits are when they come to me. Primarily, they come to me for supplementation and food advice, right? So when we're talking about that, I'll ask them this, and I encourage each of you listening to kind of process this in your head as I go through it. So I'll start with this. I'll tell them straight up, I don't want to know what you had to eat yesterday. I really don't. But I do want you to think about it. I want you to think about right now while we're talking, think about what you had for breakfast, what you had in the middle of the morning. Did you have coffee? Was it fast food? Was it prepared? Did you have a smoothie? Whatever it was, I don't want to know. Just think about it. What did you have for lunch? Did you go out? Did you bring a sandwich to the office? What did you do in the middle of the afternoon when you were feeling that energy dip? Did you go to the vending machine? Did you grab a candy bar? Did you grab some almonds? Think about what you had for dinner and think about when you ate your dinner. How late in the evening was it? And then, Lord forbid, you ate something after dinner. Our kitchen shuts at 7. Nobody eats in the kitchen after 12. That's not entirely true. But for the most part, our kitchen closes at 7. So, and there's a reason for that. It's because as your body starts shutting down for the evening, it processes the food that you've eaten. So the earlier, the better. You don't want to be wasting your body's energy while you're sleeping when your hormones should be regenerating because it's busy processing food that you ate at 10 o'clock. So after we get through that little exercise, I'll say, okay, now you got that in your head? Yeah. Just tell me this. Did you consume 7 to 9 vegetables and fruits in your day? Not one person has told me yes. And true confessions, there are days I can't say yes because we get busy. So if we prep ahead, we know what we like. Don't go buy a jicama if you don't even know what it is and you're not sure. Go buy the food you like. Buy your, like if you like cucumbers, if you like, have you tried a raw red or yellow or orange bell pepper? They're delicious. They're sweet. But a lot of people don't know that because all they've ever eaten is green bell pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Green bell pepper is sweet. It's great for sauteing if you're going to make something with it, but the colorful peppers are really delicious. It's a little bit of experimenting and going out on, taking a chance, getting a little bit out of your comfort zone. Try a new recipe every week. Just try. And you've got me, you've got Greta, you've got a great group of folks that want to help you succeed. And that's what we're here for. I hope that helps.
Yes, yes. So what else do you have for us?
Well, we talked about how's our time looking? Are we doing okay on time?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, I do want to mention something about sugar. I've been on sugar
Yes.
since I was a child. I had a childhood disease that caused me to be on a diet from the age of 5 because of an experimental drug that caused me to gain weight. And because of that, I was deprived of anything with sugar in it. And so anytime I got around sugar, it was Katie, bar the door. I'm going to eat the whole cake. I couldn't deal with portion sizes. I had been so deprived. I wanted it all the time. So I'm not suggesting that you deprive yourself all the time. I am saying pay attention to processed sugar. Processed sugar is in almost everything out there. It's certainly in all of the processed cereals and baked goods and cookies, crackers, even things you wouldn't expect. So read the labels. The more you can get away from processed sugar and substitute things like I bake with honey, and I don't quite use as much as I would. So like if I've got a cup in my recipe for banana bread of sugar, I'll use 3/4 of a cup of honey. But experiment with things and see what works for you. Even if you cut it to half honey, half sugar, kind of weaning yourself off for a while so you can get it out of your system because it's a drug. It's not a regulated drug, but it is a drug. It operates the same part of your brain as cocaine or heroin or anything else that gives you that joyful feeling all of a sudden. So they tell me. So you definitely have to treat it like it would be a controlled substance and use it very sparingly. Yes, birthdays. I baked cheesecake last week for my husband's birthday and we ate it in moderation and we gave 3/4 of it away and we were freezing the rest of it. But a little bit at a time isn't going to hurt you, but so many people, because you are addicted to processed food, we all are at some level, it's hard to get away from it. You don't realize until you go through a cleanse or a detox how dependent you are on sugar. Caffeine can be the same category. So speaking of detox, can I just roll into that?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of mystery around detox and cleansings, right? There's books line the shelves of the bookstores and the library on how to do it. Everybody's got a different way to do it. For me personally, the bottom line is I'm not going to do something that is going to deprive me of food for 7 days. I'm not going to be a lemon water kind of person and think that's cleansing and detoxing. Your body needs nourishment. So I think when I released the idea that a cleanse or a detox was not going to be hard for me to do, it would be something I could do easily. It became more of a habit. So now I cleanse once or twice a year, just kind of depends on what's been happening in my life, but at least once a year. And the cleanse that I do is, it is a Shackley cleanse. That's the company that I represent. And it's a 7-day healthy cleanse. You are unlimited on fruit and vegetables. We recommend more vegetables than fruits, like a 1/3, 2/3 ratio. And you're encouraged to eat every 2 hours. It goes back to what I said earlier about prep. It's really important to prepare. First of all, prepare your head, because you've got to get in the right mindset if you're going to be successful with it. I think that's true for any new eating pattern. You really need something that you're going to be able to work with for the rest of your life, and something that's going to be your normal and not make you feel weird when you go to a restaurant. You'll still be able to go out and eat, something that you can live with, truly live with. And this cleanse, I mean, there are supplements attached to it to help you detox your liver and to be sure you've got plenty of probiotics, and there's alfalfa. And so there's some supplements involved with it as well. But I'm not hungry right now. I'm day one of my cleanse for this year. So I do a green smoothie for breakfast, and I've been eating pretty continuously all morning, just half an apple here. And, we made some, oh, you're going to love this, Greta, some cilantro lime cauliflower rice yesterday. And Kevin said, that was pretty good. I might even eat that like real food. It is real food. But the point being, is really tasty. And then you use your food processor and just kind of make cauliflower rice, pulse it and saute some garlic and shallots. And it's really yummy. Lime and the cilantro really gives it a pop. I've already today. So I'm sorry, I digress. The point being, preparations. You prepare your mind, you prepare your refrigerator, and go ahead and prepare some easy to grab and go food, and make sure that each day what you're going to eat, and you've got it planned out, so that if you have to go to the office to work, I suggest you take an extra 1 or 2 servings beyond what you think you're going to need, because you just never know. And lots and lots and lots of water. This is a decaf tea, and that counts. It's a strawberry hibiscus, which we keep on hand all the time. So it doesn't have to be boring. But at the end of it, normally you're several pounds down. I average about 6 pounds, and it's not easy for me to lose weight. So that's good. We'll see what it is this year. But it cleanses. It's nourishing your insides. So your intestinal tract is not violated. It's nourished, and your body's able to process the food that you're putting through. And at the end of it, you'll be surprised at how selective you are about when and what you bring back into your diet. If you've detoxed off caffeine and that was an issue for you, you might be a little hesitant to go back to 2 cups in the morning every day. Or if you do, you'll notice it. Your body will tell you. They're highly intelligent machines.
Yeah, it definitely gives you all kinds of alerts, like your car gives you a warning signal before something happens, before it gets critical. And our bodies, it does the same thing. It's just that we have to pay attention to those warning signs and listen to them, and then do something about it before it gets to the point of where you have to go and have something major done. It's like
Exactly.
So it's the same concept.
Well, and I think that when you go through, we do a 7-day cleanse for a reason. The first 2 to 3 days, for the first time you do it, especially when you're learning how to prepare, what you're going to eat, what you're not going to eat. The first 2 or 3 days can be challenging, not because you're hungry, but because in your mind you're thinking, I should be eating meat, or I should be eating, it's just a different mindset. And some people have mild headaches, that's part of the detox process. But I will tell you, every time I've done it, by day 3, I feel fantastic. I feel really good. I've got a lot of energy. It's noticeable. So I encourage it. It's just one of those things that I think needs to be just demystified. I think people need
Yeah.
to be able to look at it and go, oh, that's not that big a deal. I can do that once a year. That's not that hard. I recommend doing it in the summer though, because then you've got all the fresh fruit
Yeah.
and
That
melon.
that makes sense. Yeah, because I was, and it is something that you have to plan. You just can't do it on a whim. You just can't say, oh well, tomorrow I'm going to start detoxing. If it's going to be effective, if you're going to get the results that you're looking for, especially with the getting rid of the toxins that's in your body, because we're constantly collecting, our bodies is constantly collecting toxins, and that's really the only way that we can get rid of them is through a detox. And that's
Right.
why it's important, because I really believe, and I'm not a scientist, but I really believe that toxins in our body is linked to diseases. I
And
really just believe that.
I do too. And I'm with you. I'm not a doctor. Don't want to be one. I'm not a scientist. Don't want to do that either. But I know what's true in my body. And I
Hmm.
know when I'll give you an example. I drink, when I'm not on a cleanse, I drink one of our life shakes, Shackley's life shakes every morning. They're convenient. I can do it really quick. It doesn't take much time and I don't have to think very hard. I like that. But one weekend we had some friends over for breakfast. And rather than drinking my shake that morning, I had a biscuit and an egg. Now, I will say this, I make a good biscuit. So I didn't have a problem eating it. But within an hour, I felt sluggish. It did not fuel my body the same way my life shake does. So now, if we ever have that situation again, I get up early anyway. I drink my life shake first, and then I can eat a small portion, more like a
Yeah.
snack mid morning as the breakfast that everybody else is enjoying.
Hmm.
And I'm going to feel better. It's not that I'm trying to deprive myself. I'm trying to make sure I like feeling good. And I mean, you were talking about age. I'm 62 and I want to feel this good when I'm 82 and 92 and 102. I want to be this vibrant. And there is a way to do it. I know people that are in their 80s that have been practicing this type of let food be thy medicine mentality for 40 years, and you would never know their age. That's what I shoot for.
Yeah. And their quality of life is excellent. I mean, because when you think about being 80, my mom is going to be 84 this year, and I mean, she still gets around and she drives and she does, she's pretty vibrant for her age. And my grandfather lived to be 109, and he was still getting around and doing well even at 109. So I know that it's possible. I
Yes.
know that it's possible, but I also know that I have to do something. Yes, I may be blessed with, genetically having that gene, but if I don't take care of myself, then there's also the other side of that, you
Well,
know?
and most folks listening to this have probably heard your story, but again, it's a tremendous story to go from being on the verge of having to take so many medications and then making changes in lifestyle, diet, exercise, getting better sleep, the things that are so important and key. And you were able to do a tremendous thing by
Yeah.
just that. And I think part of it is, I know a lot of us want it to be fast. We want to be able, like if we have a weight challenge, and I know I just went through this myself, and you've heard this story, Greta. I apologize for boring you with it again, but I've been challenged with my weight my whole life. But when menopause hit 7, 8 years ago, there was nothing I could do to prevent me from gaining weight. It was
Yeah.
just I was in my life. And I gained over 20 pounds during the course of a year that stayed with me. And, I'd pick up an extra pound or two a year until last summer when I did my summer cleanse and I lost my usual, I net 4.5 pounds of cleanse. And I thought, well, I'm going to try again. So I got back on my program, which is 2 meal replacements a day and then 1 healthy meal a day, which works well for me. And it worked. I mean, I've lost 28 pounds. I've got 5 more to go. and I feel fantastic. My knees don't hurt anymore. And it's just one of those things that you have to get it right in your head. You have to know
Yeah.
that you're ready, that you want
Yeah.
to do this for your health, not for anybody else's. You're not going to be as successful if you're trying to do it for somebody else. It's got to be about making a shift in your thinking. And like I said, that's what we're here to help people do.
Yeah. And that's really important for me, because I went from where I was to where I am now, and because I was able to do that, and the way that I was able to do it, I know that it's possible for other people, because when you're there, you feel trapped. You feel like you're never going to get to the other side of that.
Yeah.
But the key is that knowing, number one, in your mind that you can, and just continuing to work toward that goal,
Yep.
of being there. But the other thing is that I think that people don't know where to start. They don't know how to start. And that's the problem. So they'll start doing something and then it doesn't work. And so they won't do anything.
Yeah.
So, I just want to, that's why I have that I have a dare challenge going on right now on Facebook. Because I know a lot of people, a lot of people want to do something, but they're like, I don't, I can't go to the gym. My knees hurt, or I can't walk, or, even with you, I mean, last
Yep.
summer, you got into that pool, and I'm gonna tell you, you did fantastic. And so, but it's just finding finding something that you're going to enjoy, and that
That's
you're
it.
going to be able to see the results.
That's it. You've got to find what works for you. And your body truth and my body truth are not going to necessarily be the same.
No.
We are here. One of the reasons that we are doing what we're doing is to help people find their own body truth.
Yes.
And I say that for food, for exercise, for habits that you need to shift. And when I'm saying that, I'm thinking about sleep,
Yes.
and just all different things that contribute to either wellness or disease. And I think that for a lot of people that don't know what to do to start, then I encourage them to just pick up the phone and call you, shoot you a text, email. We're connected. If somebody needs my help, I'm here.
Yes.
But find somebody that you trust and walk that path together, because I don't think it's fair for any of us to feel like we have to do it by ourselves. First of all, it's not as fun, and it can be fun.
Well, and the other thing too is that because we don't know,
Yeah.
we just don't know, because it's not like, it's something that is taught. You learn the four food groups, but I mean, who gets into the,
Yeah.
which is a joke, but who
And
but
those
who gets into
those are so messed up, right? I mean,
that's my point.
yeah,
So where else are you going to get the information from? I mean, yeah, you can spend,
right.
we spend time studying and doing research, and that's why we know, we have the information that we have, but everybody's not going to take the time to do that. So you know what, I feel like, we've been blessed to have the information, so we're going to share that information with people so that they can start to live a better quality of life.
Well, you and I have both at different times with different methods made this our life's mission. And to me, if we're not here to help each other, why are we here? So that whether it's food or exercise or all of the above, you can take it in pieces. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Like, I love that you encourage people to walk out your front door and walk 15 minutes that 15 minutes back every day. Pretty much anybody can do that. But like when we talked last summer and I said, okay, I want to get into an exercise program that I know I'm going to love and stay with, but I fell the year before and I dislocated my shoulder. So I'm hesitant to go to the gym. And you said, find a pool. 3 words that changed my life. Find a pool. Well, I don't have a pool, but I have a friend with a pool. And that set me down to, I just had to make that work in my schedule. And fortunately, I have a friend who didn't mind me coming to her pool in the mornings. But it's different for everybody. And I think for me too, I garden, obviously I'm a vegetable gardener. So I'm out in the garden a lot. And if I'm out there for 3 or 4 hours turning the soil to plant a new crop, then I am going to consider that my day of exercise. I mean, that counts too. So find what works for you. It doesn't have to be boring.
The gym, and it doesn't have to be the gym. The gym is not for
Right.
everybody.
Yep.
That's what works for me, but it's not for everybody. But the thing is that if I can get you to walk for 30 minutes a day, you're gonna feel better. You're gonna
Yep.
sleep better. You're gonna want to. Then at that point, you're going to want more because guess what? Like you said earlier, you just want to feel good and you like it when you feel good. Everybody likes to feel good. So if that's going to help you to get there with just that 30 minutes for 31 days, then guess what? You're going to continue on with that because you're going to want to keep that same feeling of feeling good.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
like I said, we're here to help people do.
Yes, we are. So this is just the beginning of us bringing you some information that is definitely going to be helpful in your life. So we're going to probably start doing this like maybe once a week or something like that. We're still kind of testing the waters a little bit, but we definitely want to bring you guys information that you can use that is going to be helpful, that is going to be a benefit in your life, so that we can all live a better quality of life in our family, because we have children and grandchildren that we want to, also bring into the fold in reference to living a healthy lifestyle. So, and it is a lifestyle. So, Ms. Kraft, I really thank you so much for, taking your time out your day to do this. And again, as long as you're willing to get information out there, hey, I'm willing to work with it and let's get it out there because people need this.
Thank you so much for including me. This has been fun. I look forward to the next one.
Thank you. And we'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.